Good morning. I'm Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Brooks Garner. It is Monday, June 23rd. Here is your tropical update for this Monday across the Atlantic. Well, we've got a lot going on out there, but very little to show for it. There is, however, one system that bears watching, and it's in fact the first system with a confidence high enough for the National Hurricane Center to say it's technically likely to develop. Fortunately, there's no threat to land. This is northeast of Bermuda by a pretty good click. You can see the swirl here on the right-hand part of your screen. That is an invest area that they're watching, and it's heading out to the open Atlantic. There's a chance it develops, but it's such a slight chance. And if it does, it doesn't really matter. It's of very little consequence, but they're still giving it a 70% chance in the red zone of developing. It's a sign, if anything, that the tropical season is here. The hurricane season, of course, has officially begun as of June 1st, but it's in full swing now as of late June. Now, last season at this time, we were talking about Beryl, which became the earliest Cat 5. Nothing like that in the Atlantic right now. I'll tell you why coming up in a second. But first off, on this system, it's collapsing under wind shear right now. It still has that outside chance to develop if it gets some thunderstorm activity associated with the center, which may happen. A tropical depression or a tropical storm could form. The first name is Andrea, but this is likely to further dissipate tomorrow. So regardless, there's a big trough coming in the upper levels, and that's going to tear this thing apart. Meanwhile, at the surface, speaking of troughs, we've got a series of tropical waves, those brown dashed areas in the tropical Atlantic, one of them working into Central America, another one pushing through Venezuela and Colombia, and a third one that is moving into the northeastern portion of South America there. Otherwise, out in the open Atlantic, there's really not much going on other than the typical slew of thunderstorms you'd find in the intertropical convergence zone over the open Atlantic. One of the reasons is that we've had so much of the Saharan dust, and a look at our dust monitor, big slug of dust comes through the Caribbean as well as the Bahamas as we get into the next several days later this week, but most of that will stay to the south of Orlando. You may see some haze in the sky, but the function of this as far as the tropical update goes is that it tends to tamp down tropical activity. It dries it up before it can really happen. And so as we look at it early July, there's a very good shot there in Africa of another big expulsion event of this dust coming into the region and covering the Atlantic. And so what that means is that we're unlikely to see much activity in the main zone of development. So we go back to our system here northeast of Bermuda with a chance to develop. And in the last few frames as we head toward midday, there may be a couple of thunderstorms trying to pop in the circulation. But again, this is more of interest than anything else. Well, that's a look at our tropical update. We'll let you know if anything changes. Good news, though, no activity of any consequence is expected in the Atlantic Basin for at least the next 10 days. All right, stay with Fox 35 Orlando for the latest. I'm Fox 35 Storm Team meteorologist Brooks Garner.